What if a mark upon your very skin, a feature you have carried since birth and dismissed as a random imperfection, was never random at all? Imagine for a moment that it is a sign. Not a sign of divine favor or a kiss from an angel, but a seal, a silent imprint placed upon you by forces that have long feared the light you carry within. Consider the possibility that everything you believe about yourself, your struggles, your sense of not quite belonging, is only half the story. The other half, the most crucial part of your legacy, was not simply lost to time. It was carefully and deliberately hidden from you. This is not a tale of fantasy, but a thread of a forgotten truth, a whisper of a knowledge so profound that empires rose and fell to ensure its silence. This feeling of being different, has it not followed you like a shadow through your life? A quiet but persistent sense that you are observing a world in which you are not fully a participant, a deep inner knowing that there is a grander purpose to your existence, yet it remains just beyond the veil of your perception. Perhaps you have experienced moments of brilliant clarity and inspiration, only to have them washed away by a sudden, inexplicable wave of doubt or fear. This is not a flaw in your character. It is the echo of a forgotten conflict, a battle for consciousness being waged within your very soul. The mark you bear is not the cause of your struggle, but the evidence of your importance in this ancient war. It is the reason you have always felt watched. For millennia, this profound mystery has been buried under the sands of accepted history, locked away in clay jars and erased from the pages of official doctrine. An entire library of ancient wisdom, a cosmology that offered a key to our spiritual sovereignty, was deemed heresy and condemned to fire and oblivion. This knowledge spoke of a world not as a perfect creation, but as a magnificent illusion, designed to keep us from remembering our true, divine origin. It taught that within each of us lies a spark of the infinite, a fragment of the true, unknowable source of all things. But it also warned of the cosmic wardens, the architects of this illusion, who work tirelessly to keep that spark from igniting into a flame. What you are about to embark on is a journey of revelation, a descent into the catacombs of suppressed spirituality to reclaim a truth that belongs to you. We will peel back the layers of dogma and control that have defined our world for centuries. We will uncover the real meaning behind the Gnostic Gospels, not as heretical texts, but as survival guides for the soul, left behind by a messenger who sought not to be worshipped, but to awaken us from a cosmic slumber. This is the story of your forgotten legacy, an ancestral memory stirring within your blood, waiting for the right words to call it forth. The answers you have been searching for are not in the heavens above, but in the history that has been stolen from you. What would change if you discovered that your greatest perceived vulnerability was, in fact, the mark of your most profound strength? This is the question that lies at the heart of our journey together. If this inquiry resonates within you, if it awakens a dormant curiosity or speaks to a truth you have always felt in the quiet moments of your life, then you have arrived at the beginning of a great awakening. The path forward requires courage to look beyond the veil. If you are ready to reclaim the knowledge that has been lost, subscribe to this channel and join us. Your journey into the light begins now. To understand the origin of this silent war, we must journey back in time, not to the sanitized landscapes of Scripture, but to the raw, chaotic spiritual furnace of the first centuries after Christ. Imagine the dust-filled air of the Near East, alive not with a single unified doctrine, but with a vibrant and often dangerous symphony of beliefs. This was an era teeming with spiritual seekers, mystics and philosophers, all grappling with the explosive message of a Galilean teacher. The version of history that survived, the one carved into the stone of councils and cathedrals, was merely the victor's account. Beneath it, buried in the sands, lay a different story, a more profound and unsettling truth about the nature of our reality and the forces that govern it. It was a truth so powerful that empires would be built upon its ashes. Among these swirling currents of thought were the Gnostics, a name that would later be branded as heresy, a word used to silence and condemn. But they were not heretics. They were spiritual cartographers, mapping a cosmos far more complex than the one presented by the burgeoning Orthodox Church. They taught that the material world, with all its breathtaking beauty and agonizing pain, was not the creation of a benevolent, all-powerful God. Instead, it was a masterful illusion, a beautiful prison crafted by a lesser, ignorant entity known as the demiurge. And within this intricate cage, within every human being, lay a trapped fragment of the true, unknowable divine, a spark of infinite light, yearning to return to its source. This was their central, dangerous secret. You are not a flawed creature in need of salvation from a distant king. You are a god in exile, asleep in a world designed to keep you from remembering who you are. For nearly 2 millennia, this ancestral wisdom was thought to be lost, its texts burned, its followers scattered and silenced. It became a ghost in the memory of spirituality, a whisper of a knowledge lost to the iron will of dogma. Then, in 1945, near the Egyptian town of Nag Hammadi, a local farmer struck a clay jar with his spade, and in a single shattering moment, the silence was broken. Inside that jar, and others like it, lay a library of forbidden gospels sealed for 1,600 years against the fires of history. The Gospel of Thomas, the Gospel of Truth, the Apocryphon of John. These were not just alternative scriptures, they were a revelation. They were survival guides for the soul, a direct link to a past that had been deliberately erased. Why was this version of the story so dangerous that it had to be buried in the desert for so long? Within these brittle pages, a different Jesus emerged. He was not a sacrificial lamb come to redeem the sins of a fallen world. He was an illuminator, a messenger from the realm of true light, the pleroma. His mission was not to be worshipped, but to awaken. He came to deliver gnosis, a direct, intimate, and experiential knowledge of the divine within. He taught that the kingdom of God was not a place in the heavens to be earned through obedience, but a state of consciousness to be realized here and now. He was a guide who pointed the way out of the labyrinth, offering the keys to unlock the prison of perception and reclaim our divine birthright. This message of radical self-empowerment was a fire that threatened to burn down the very foundations of control that were being built. The architects of this prison, according to these hidden texts, were the Archons. They are the cosmic wardens, the administrators of the demiurge's material realm. They are not demons of pure evil, but beings of cosmic authority, whose primary function is to maintain the illusion, to keep the system running, and to prevent the divine sparks from escaping. They are the gatekeepers of amnesia. Their greatest fear is awakening, for every soul that remembers its true origin weakens their grip on this reality. Their methods are not overt violence, but subtle manipulation. They are the authors of doubt, the whispers of fear, the architects of distraction. They police the walls of our perception, ensuring that we never look beyond them. The conflict, therefore, is not a battle of good versus evil, but a war for consciousness itself. This cosmic conflict becomes deeply personal when we understand how the Archons manage their greatest threat, those souls who carry the brightest light, the most potent spark of divinity. These are the souls with the inherent potential to not only awaken themselves, but to trigger a mass awakening around them. To control this threat, the Archons devised a system of tracking. At the very moment of incarnation, as a soul descends into a physical body, they place a seal upon it, a subtle, energetic imprint, a spiritual brand that manifests in the physical world. This is the origin of the mystery. Could this be the reason you have always felt watched, or that your greatest moments of inspiration are often followed by waves of inexplicable doubt and fear? It is not your imagination. It is the system monitoring its most luminous prisoners. This system of cosmic control found its perfect mirror on Earth. As the Roman Empire embraced a singular dogmatic form of Christianity, it created a structure built on hierarchy and obedience, a system that required intermediaries, priests, bishops, popes, to stand between humanity and God. The Gnostic message of direct personal gnosis was the ultimate threat to this new spiritual empire. It rendered the entire structure of power obsolete, and so the knowledge had to be suppressed. The burning of Gnostic texts was not simply a theological dispute, it was a strategic act of erasure. The system hid not just a collection of scrolls, but the very key to humanity's spiritual sovereignty. Generations of marked souls were left to wander through history, feeling a profound sense of displacement, a deep inner turmoil, never knowing that this was not a sign of their brokenness, but the evidence of a power so immense that the gatekeepers of reality itself had to place a seal upon them to keep it contained. The mark was not a curse, but a testament to the light they carried within. The proof of this profound revelation was not etched into the monuments of emperors or sung in the choirs of cathedrals. It was buried. It slept in the cool, dark earth, sealed in clay jars under the Egyptian sun, waiting for a time when humanity would be ready to listen again. The discovery at Nag Hammadi was not a mere archaeological find. It was a memory returning to the world. Imagine the dry, brittle feel of papyrus that has not known a human touch for 1600 years, the faint scent of desert dust rising from its surface. These were not just scrolls, they were letters from a forgotten ancestry, a library of the soul that survived. The fires of empire. Within texts like the Gospel of Truth and the Secret Book of John, the story was laid bare. Here, in the elegant, flowing script of scribes long since returned to dust, was the blueprint of our spiritual prison and the detailed account of its wardens, the Archons. This was not heresy. It was a warning, a map left behind by those who had seen beyond the veil. The Apocryphon of John, in particular, reads like a captured transmission from another dimension, a direct revelation. Given to the apostle by the luminous Christ, it does not speak of sin and redemption, but of ignorance and enlightenment. It describes the fall of Sophia, or wisdom, and the accidental creation of the demiurge, a blind and arrogant craftsman who declared himself the one true God. This lesser deity then fashioned the material world and with his host of Archons imprisoned the divine spark of humanity within vessels of flesh. The text names these cosmic rulers, describes their domains, and details their primary function: to keep humanity asleep, distracted by material concerns, and bound by the chains of fate. The document is a chillingly precise indictment of our reality, a lost chronicle that explains not only the origin of the world, but the origin of the deep-seated feeling that something is profoundly wrong. It is the foundational evidence for the system of control, a piece of hidden knowledge that changes everything. But the evidence is not confined to these resurrected texts. It survives in fragments, scattered across the symbolic language of ancient civilizations. Look to the seals of Mesopotamia, the cylinder stones that were pressed into wet clay to mark ownership, to claim authority. Look to the sacred tattoos of tribal cultures, marks that designated a person's role, their lineage, or their unique spiritual power. The concept of a mark being placed upon an individual to signify their nature is a deep and recurring theme in the human story. These practices are the faint echoes of a much older, much more literal truth. They are a form of ancestral memory, a ritualistic reenactment of a cosmic event that the soul remembers even if the conscious mind has been forced to forget. The Archontic seal is simply the original, the archetype from which all other marks of destiny, for good or for ill, are but a shadow. When the libraries burned, the wisdom did not die. It changed form. It became a living current, flowing through the hidden streams of oral tradition. It was whispered in the caves of desert hermits, encoded in the allegories of Sufi poets, and passed down through secret societies that operated in the shadows of orthodox power. This ancient wisdom became a river flowing underground, invisible to the world above, but nourishing the roots of a truth that could not be killed. It spoke not in direct terms of archons and seals, for that was too dangerous. Instead, it spoke in metaphors of light and shadow, of the sleeping soul, and the call to awaken, of the false king of this world and the true home that lies beyond. This legacy, carried not on paper, but in the breath and memory of dedicated guardians, is a testament to the resilience of truth. It proves that what is essential can never truly be destroyed, only hidden. Even the texts of the very institutions that sought to erase this knowledge carry its ghost. Within the canonical scriptures, there are unsettling passages that hint at this deeper, more complex reality. Paul speaks of a struggle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this age. Who are these rulers, if not the Archons of the Gnostics? The Gospel of John describes the ruler of this world, a prince of darkness whose authority is separate from that of the Divine Father. These are not isolated verses. They are cracks in the edifice of dogma, moments where the suppressed truth bleeds through, a subconscious admission that the world is governed by forces far more complex and troubling than the simple narrative of good versus evil allows. The system, in its attempt to erase the past, accidentally preserved its faint outline. Ultimately, the most powerful proof is not found in a clay jar or a whispered legend. It is found within you. Does this story not awaken something deep inside, a flicker of recognition in the oldest part of your soul? The persistent feeling of being an outsider, the waves of inexplicable doubt that sabotage your brightest moments of clarity, the profound and aching homesickness for a place you cannot name. These are not psychological quirks. They are the data points of your own experience. They are the evidence. The Gnostic texts give a name and a context to a struggle you have felt your entire life. The mark upon your skin is merely the external signifier, the physical anchor for a spiritual reality. The true confirmation of this lost truth is the resounding echo it creates in the silent chambers of your own heart. Why else would this forgotten knowledge feel so much like coming home? This feeling of recognition, this sudden clarity that settles upon you as you hear these words, is not a coincidence. It is the stirring of a memory that is not your own, yet belongs to you completely. It is an echo carried in your blood, a resonance from a time before time, when your soul knew its own name and its own origin. This is ancestral memory, not as a vague, poetic concept, but as a living library. Encoded within your very being, the truth of the Gnostic revelation does not need to be proven to you with logic and argument, because the oldest part of you was there. It remembers the light of the pleroma. It remembers the descent into this shadowed world, and it remembers the moment the seal was placed, a cold touch of cosmic authority that has haunted your every incarnation since. This is why the story feels like home, because it is the story of your long and arduous journey back. The tactics of the Archons have not changed. They have merely modernized. Their methods of suppression are no longer the burning of libraries or the persecution of mystics. Today, their work is far more subtle and far more effective. They are the architects of the endless scroll, the constant hum of digital distraction that keeps your mind occupied and your spirit starved. They are the authors of the culture of comparison, the silent voice that whispers, "You are not enough, not successful enough, not perfect enough," ensuring you are always looking outside of yourself for validation. They are the engineers of a world that celebrates the superficial and trivializes the profound. A world designed to keep you so busy chasing shadows that you never have a moment of silence to hear the call of your own divine spark. Their greatest weapon is noise. For in true silence, you might remember everything. And so, the marked soul navigates this modern labyrinth with a unique and often painful sensitivity. You feel things more deeply than others. The cruelty of the world is not an abstract headline. It is a wound you feel in your own body. The beauty of a sunset or a line of music can move you to tears, a momentary glimpse of the divine that leaves you aching with a profound homesickness. You have always been the observer, the one who sees the patterns others miss, the one who senses the dissonance between what people say and what they truly feel. This heightened perception is not a curse. It is a function of the seal. It was designed to make you a target for doubt and fear, but its unintended side effect is that it makes you a finely tuned instrument for perceiving the truth. You see the bars of the cage more clearly than anyone. Have you never wondered why your moments of greatest expansion, of purest creativity and inspiration, are so often followed by a tidal wave of self-sabotage? The moment you decide to begin the great work, to write the book, to start the healing, an inexplicable fatigue sets in. The moment you touch upon a profound truth, a chorus of inner critics rises to shout it down. This is not a flaw in your character. It is the system's automated defense mechanism. The seal you carry is a spiritual beacon, and when your light begins to shine too brightly, it alerts the wardens. The doubt, the fear, the sudden loss of will, these are not your own feelings. They are energetic transmissions, targeted interference designed to dim your light and push you back into the safety of sleep. The intensity of the resistance you face is a direct measure of the power you are about to unlock. The Archons do not fear your happiness. They do not fear your success in their material world. They fear your memory. They fear Gnosis, because a single, fully awakened soul is more dangerous to their system than any army. An awakened soul becomes a harmonic resonator. Your very presence begins to vibrate at the frequency of truth, and like a tuning fork, it awakens the same frequency in those around you. You remind them without saying a word that there is more to this life than the illusion they have been sold. You become a walking, breathing key, a lighthouse in a sea of static, guiding other ships home. This is why the pressure on you has been so immense. Your awakening was never just about you. It is about the liberation of the sparks trapped alongside you. This is the great secret that the Gnostic texts whispered in the desert silence. The seal is not merely a brand or a tracking device. It is an energetic amplifier. It was placed upon you to magnify the frequencies of fear and doubt, making you more susceptible to archontic control. But this amplification works both ways. It is a neutral technology. It also magnifies the frequencies you choose to cultivate. It magnifies courage. It magnifies love. It magnifies the light of your own divine consciousness. The very tool designed to be your prison cell can be reforged into the key that sets you free. The system, in its arrogance, has given its most dangerous prisoners the very means of their own liberation. They have marked you with a device that, once understood, can turn your inner light into a supernova. This is the knowledge the great illuminator came to deliver. The message of the Gnostic Christ was not a promise of future salvation in some distant heaven. It was a masterclass in spiritual alchemy for the here and now. He did not come to teach you how to endure your chains, but how to shatter them. He revealed the nature of the Archons and their seal, not to inspire fear, but to hand you the blueprint of your own freedom. But there was another layer to his teaching, a revelation so profound, so empowering, that it was erased from history with a terrifying ferocity. He revealed the seal's ultimate purpose, a secret function hidden even from most of the Archons themselves. What was this final forbidden truth about the mark you carry? The great Illuminator's final teaching was not written on papyrus, for it was too volatile, too dangerous to be trusted to ink and time. It was a living transmission, a frequency etched into the very fabric of the soul for those who were ready to receive it. He taught that the Archons, in their cold and calculated brilliance, had made a single fatal error. They had underestimated the nature of the divine spark they sought to contain. In their arrogance, they believed they could build a perfect cage for a fragment of infinity, a cage of flesh and bone, of fear and forgetting. But to track and manage their most luminous prisoners, they needed a device that could interface with the soul itself. They needed a seal that resonated on a spiritual level, and in doing so, they inadvertently planted the seed of their own undoing within every marked being. This was the final, forbidden truth, the revelation that turned the entire system of control against itself. The seal was never a cage. It was a key. It was not a brand of ownership, but a beacon, a homing device whose frequency was originally tuned to the architects of this reality. The Archons designed it to be a one-way transmitter, broadcasting the location and energetic state of a powerful soul back to them, allowing them to dispatch doubt and fear with surgical precision. But the Illuminator revealed the secret that had been hidden even from the lower echelons of the Archontic host. The transmitter could be recalibrated. The signal could be reversed. The very instrument designed to keep you lost in the labyrinth was, in fact, a compass that could point you directly toward the source of all things. The mark upon your skin was never a scar of your imprisonment. It was a forgotten star chart tattooed onto your very being, waiting for you to remember how to read it. This changes everything. The entire history of your struggle is instantly reframed. Every moment of profound, inexplicable sadness was not your weakness, but the compass needle quivering, trying to find its true north. Every wave of doubt that crashed upon the shores of your inspiration was not a sign of your inadequacy, but an archontic storm attempting to jam your signal. The feeling of being watched was real, but you were not just being monitored by your captors, you were being felt by your home. The divine realm, the pleroma, never lost you. It could only sense the faint, distorted echo of your light through the seal. The constant, aching homesickness you carry is not a fantasy. It is the memory of a call you have been receiving your entire life, a call you were taught to interpret as pain. The resistance you have felt was never a sign to stop. It was the friction that proved the key was finally being placed into the lock. This profound mystery of cosmic irony stems from a law the demiurge itself could not escape. In its act of creation, this lesser god could not create something from nothing. It could only imitate, arrange, and ensnare that which already was. To animate its human vessels, it had to use a fragment of the true divinity, the spark of Sophia's light. And to mark that spark, it had to use a tool that operated on divine principles. The seal is an echo of divine geometry, a piece of cosmic technology that the Archons learned to wield but never truly understood. They saw it as a tool of dominion, blind to its higher purpose. They built a prison using a divine blueprint, never realizing that the blueprint itself contained the schematics for its own dissolution. The system of control carries within it the very code of its own obsolescence. This truth has been encoded in the world's hidden traditions for eons, a secret hiding in plain sight. It is the Ouroboros, the serpent swallowing its own tail, a symbol not just of eternity, but of a system that contains both the poison and the antidote. It is the core lesson of alchemy, the transformation of lead into gold. The seal in its dormant state, is the lead, heavy, burdensome, a weight upon the soul. But through the fire of gnosis, through conscious awareness and inner work, it is transmuted. It becomes gold, a luminous conductor of divine energy, a beacon that shines with a light so bright it becomes blinding to the wardens of the shadow. The Archons can only perceive and influence frequencies of a lower vibration. Once you learn to recalibrate the seal to the frequency of your true home, you become invisible to their system. You are still in their world, but you are no longer of it. What does this mean for you now, in this very moment? It means that the unique mark you carry, whether visible on your skin or felt as a deep and persistent sense of otherness, is not a flaw to be hidden or a curse to be endured. It is your inheritance. It is your spiritual birthright. It is the emblem of a power so profound that the architects of reality itself had to devise a plan to keep it contained. The sensitivity that has caused you so much pain is not a disorder. It is a high-resolution perceptual system. The deep yearning for meaning is not a sign of discontent, it is the engine of your liberation. This ancient wisdom does not ask you to remove the mark or fight against it. It asks you to claim it, to own it, to see it not as a sign of where you have been trapped, but as the sacred instrument that will guide you home. The revelation is complete. The forgotten legacy has been returned to your memory. You now understand the nature of the prison, the identity of the wardens, and the true purpose of the seal they placed upon you. You hold in your consciousness a key that can unlock not only your own potential, but can send a resonant signal of freedom to every other spark still lost in the dark. The knowledge has been delivered, but knowledge alone is not enough. A key is useless until it is turned. The illuminator did not just reveal the secret of the seal, he taught the precise method of its activation. How does a soul, after lifetimes of forgetting, consciously recalibrate a divine instrument and reverse its signal? What is the first step in turning this cosmic key and beginning the journey home? The key is not turned with a grand ritual or an ancient incantation whispered under a full moon. It is turned in the silent chamber of the heart, in the sacred space between one breath and the next. The first and final step in this great work is to withdraw your attention from the world of shadows they have built and to place it fully and without reservation upon the divine spark within you. The Archons do not fear your anger, they feed on it. They do not fear your rebellion, they expect it. They fear only one thing. They fear your sovereign, unwavering and silent attention turned inward. For in the furnace of your own awareness, in the focused light of your consciousness, the lead of the seal begins to warm. The cold iron of control begins to glow. The signal, for the first time in millennia, begins to change its frequency. This is the alchemy of Gnosis. It is the simple yet most profound act of remembering who you are in a world designed to make you forget. This revelation is a fire that burns away the library of lies you have been told about yourself. Look back upon the landscape of your life, but see it now with illuminated eyes. The persistent feeling of not belonging was not a social failing. It was your soul refusing to accept the illusion as reality. The deep sensitivity that brought you so much pain was not a weakness. It was a high-fidelity spiritual instrument, picking up the dissonant frequencies of a world out of tune with the truth. The waves of doubt and self-sabotage were not born from your own mind. They were the desperate, last-ditch efforts of a failing system trying to dim a light that was growing too bright. You are not broken. You have been in a battle since the moment you were born, and the evidence of this war, the very mark you carry, is the ultimate proof of your importance in it. The path forward is not one of battle but of radiance. You do not fight the Archons, you make yourself incomprehensible to them. You recalibrate the seal, not by attacking it, but by raising your own vibration to a frequency they cannot perceive. This is done in the small choices you make every day. It is choosing curiosity over fear. It is choosing compassion for yourself over the harsh judgment of the inner critic they programmed. It is finding moments of profound silence in a world of deafening noise. It is creating something beautiful, speaking a difficult truth, or simply looking at the sky and remembering the vast, infinite home from which you came. Each act of authentic, heart-centered living is a turn of the key. Each moment you choose love over fear, you are recalibrating the signal, tuning your beacon away from the wardens and toward the pleroma. You are signaling your readiness to come home. And here is the most beautiful part of this forgotten legacy. Your awakening was never meant for you alone. As you turn the key, as your light brightens and your frequency rises, the seal transforms from a tracking device into a lighthouse. It becomes a resonant beacon of truth. Without a single word, you begin to awaken the dormant sparks in those around you. Your courage gives them courage. Your clarity cuts through their confusion. Your peace becomes a sanctuary for their weary souls. This is the great fear of the system. Not one awakened soul, but a chain reaction of light that cannot be stopped. You become a living testament to the truth that the cage is an illusion and the door has been unlocked the entire time. Your personal journey of liberation is the greatest gift you can offer to a world lost in a dream. You have been given the map, the key, and the memory of your own divinity. The story is no longer something that happened to you. It is something that lives within you, a source of inexhaustible strength and wisdom. The seal upon your being is not a scar of your capture, but a badge of honor, a testament to a light so powerful that the masters of illusion themselves had to take notice. It is the emblem of your sacred mission, to remember, to awaken, and to illuminate. The long exile is ending. The journey home has begun. Now that the truth has been returned to you, what is the first shadow within yourself that you will choose to fill with light? If this ancient wisdom has stirred the memory in your soul, then your journey with us is only just beginning. Subscribe to this channel and become part of a community of awakening souls who are reclaiming their forgotten legacy. Share this revelation with those you feel carry the same light. For a single candle can illuminate a room, but 1,000 can bring forth the dawn. The most profound truth is this: that which you believe to be your greatest flaw, your deepest wound, or your most persistent mark of otherness, is, in fact, the signature of your divine purpose. It is the starting point of your freedom. Embrace it, understand it, and let it guide you back to the infinite light you have always been.